Greetings and salutations, this is Imperator Vespasian and his trusty sidekick.
Hello.
First video for a while, and this one is in answer to one of our viewers' questions, which was something on the lines of, help, help, what can I do when I'm a Japanese player and I'm facing heavy tanks?
Yeah.
Japanese are a problem. Not just Japanese, there are quite a few other armies which have difficulty taking on larger tanks. The Finns, for example. Very early war, the Finns were up against massive KV-1s, T-35s, although technically that's a medium tank, T-28s, same problem. Haven't got much that can actually take them on. Standard Japanese anti-tank gun from 41 onwards is this baby here, which is a rather rubbish 47mm anti-tank gun, which is okay for taking on light tanks. Not much use against medium tanks, not much use against, in fact no use at all against heavy tanks. So it is a bit of a problem. So what would you advise?
I would use normally one of these spectacular guys, although you will lose him after you use him because he'll die, kill himself. It's not supposed to do that though. It was Japanese design and you're supposed to stick it on and then run away. But because of how stupid it is designed, it just went off and killed the man holding it.
Yeah, the lunge mine.
Yes, yeah. That's it.
The lunge mine was actually the same type of mine used by the Germans and the Russians in the Second World War. And you would run up to a tank, stick the mine onto the tank. The tank's hull is magnetic. The mine makes a magnetic seal. You then pull the cord and then run away. And between 3 and 5 seconds later, 3 seconds for Russians because they were really quick, and 5 seconds for Germans, the mine explodes and fires a shaped charge into the tank. Same principle as the Japanese tank. The 3 prongs are magnetic. You run up to the tank, place the weapon on the tank, and I just moved that there. So you place the weapon on the tank and theoretically it magnetises to the tank's hull. You then pull the bamboo stick away, which pulls the cord out, and the mine has a several second charge before it detonates. In reality, the fuses were rubbish and they used to just explode. But that's life. Okay, so you would advise using lunge mines?
Yeah, and something else, which is the Japanese anti-tank gun, which what's it called now?
What?
Every army has it. It's like a sniper.
Oh, the anti-tank rifle?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but unfortunately against these babies, anti-tank rifles only have a +2 armor penetration.
It's late war.
Yes.
Alright.
And actually these tanks were all throughout the war. And your tank you're fighting against has, say it's something like a Sherman, it's got a front armour of 9. So you aren't penetrating it. Even on the flank you're not going to be able to penetrate it. So you're going to need something better. So as you said, the lunge mine. These are the lunge mines here. You can make them out of the box, so it's entirely up to you. Best to buy, say, 2 or 3 mines as a unit. They'll cost you 10 points for inexperienced, which are pointless because they'll instantly die. 20 points for regular and 30 points, which is rather expensive for veteran. Start them off in ambush and then charge the enemy. Best thing to do is to wait for the enemy to move, because then the enemy can't return fire to you.
Now I advise, if you were using Japanese, buy veteran. That's what I always do.
It is expensive though.
Yeah, but sometimes if the enemy are in great position for you, you can wipe out their entire tank division.
Yeah, that's very
Which is
true.
what I've done in many videos.
Wiped out entire tank divisions.
Yeah, against you.
Yeah, you're pretty good at it. Simply, your lunge mines are really a one-shot weapon. We have some house rules that say that you can take a roll, and if you get a 1, the guy using it survives and becomes a rifleman. Because it could happen, theoretically. So start your lunge mines off in an ambush position, have them just stick an ambush dice on them, wait for the enemy to get close enough, and then charge. Great thing about Japanese, this is going to be the infantry I'm going to mention in a minute, they have the Banzai special rule.
Oh, I love it.
Which means you don't take a leadership test to charge. Also, equip all your troops with grenades. If you equip all your troops with anti-tank grenades, they don't suffer from tank shock.
But it costs more.
It does cost more, 2 points per figure. Normally, any troops assaulting a tank are going to have to take a leadership test in order to assault. And they get a -3 to their dice roll, to their morale. So your troops might decide not to attack and stay down, and then the tank can then machine gun them, run them over, or shoot them. So the combination of anti-tank grenades with the Banzai special rule means your infantry will always charge tanks. This is brilliant. This is actually one of the only armies you can actually do that with.
It's great.
Yeah. You can actually do it with Polish if you attach a officer to them, because Polish officers are fanatic.
My entire army of Japanese are fanatics.
Yeah, and it means that when you attack, it won't make you get into combat, but once you're in combat, it makes it much better to stay in combat being fanatic.
And you get pluses as well when for Banzai when you against infantry.
Yeah. So that's the lunge mine. Now, lunge mines are just one man. The problem is your enemy might fire really heavy ordnance at them to try and get rid of them because they know how dangerous they are. However, that would be a waste of the enemy's points, because the enemy is going to be firing away at a couple of guys with lunge mines, and that gives your infantry time to close. So infantry, what's the good thing about infantry against tanks?
But Japanese infantry?
Yeah.
Forget.
Well, Japanese infantry are 15-man squads. You can charge the enemy. Your enemy can fire machine guns. If you're an American tank or British tank or Russian tank, you're not going to have many guns to fire at them, even that's if the tank gets time to fire at you.
Oh yeah, I remember now.
Yeah. Now, if it's something like this, you're in trouble, because this baby has a huge amount of machine guns and can do serious damage to infantry that are trying to assault. But most tanks don't have enough guns to actually fire at you. So, best case scenario, you've got 4 dice firing at you with a machine gun. Bear in mind you're charging. Worst case, you've got 8 dice firing at you. The Japanese, if you buy veteran, it makes them much harder to kill, and there's 15 men in a unit.
Well, no, you have to kill every single man in the squad.
Yeah, because they're fanatic. Yeah. So you have 15 men charging at you. Best dice, you could possibly take out 3 Japanese soldiers with the averages.
No, you took like
need
5
5s.
and 1 at a time. You use
It depends what dice you use. Yeah. So, say you've got a single tank like this here. This is a KV-1. It's got 2 forward-firing guns. One turret, 2 turret-mounted guns. Only one can fire, and a forward machine gun. Depending which direction you're coming from, it's only going to get 1 gun to face you. So you attack this tank with 15 men, right? This is assuming you're at full strength. At best, the tank can fire 1 gun at you, at best. I'm going to assume there's going to be another tank supporting, so that's maybe 2 guns firing, right? So that's 8 dice. You're going to need 5s to kill. That's an average of 2 to 3 hits. Meaning the enemy now has 12 dice to use against your tank. If your tank's stationary, you will hit on a 4+ with your anti-tank grenades. If it's not stationary, you're going to hit on 6s. So it's...
And you've got many units to use to do that skill with.
Yes.
So you've got multiple chances.
So the chances are you're going to get a decent amount of hits with a decent chance of damaging. Now, remember that whenever you're attacking a medium or heavy tank, that it gets a -1 against infantry because you're effectively attacking the flank of the tank. So you've got the -1, plus if you're using a lunge mine, that's got an armor penetration of 6. So your tank is reduced to 8, basically. So a 3 or more will penetrate and destroy the tank. Or has a pretty good chance of doing so.
I think like if you get a 2, it's like more immobilized.
It's immobilized, yeah. So pretty effective. Okay, if you're doing a high points game, then you're going to be facing a lot of tanks. So simply flood the table with a lot of Japanese infantry. Give them all anti-tank grenades, and they're already fanatics. So,
well, when we played that tank game, it was like a load of Russian tanks, remember, and Japanese tanks.
yeah,
I ended up winning because Japanese tanks are more.
they're covered in machine guns.
Yeah, and no, machine guns are useless against other tanks.
No, but against infantry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't bother assaulting Japanese tanks unless you're Chinese and you're losing. The Chinese do have dare-to-die troops who are suicide troops with anti-tank grenades strapped to them.
They roll under your tank.
They roll under the tank and detonate themselves. They're pretty effective.
So have you seen that one movie clip?
Yeah, it's around the net if you look for it.
Yeah, there's lots of them.
Mark League troops all carried anti-tank grenades and were also fanatics, so again, good against Japanese tanks. But then again, Japanese tanks are light armoured anyway. So you can take them out with anti-tank rifles and anti-tank guns if you've got them.
I mean, when I play Japanese, I'm bothered with tanks. If I do get tanks, I use tank X usually, because I'm afraid of infantry attacking my infantry. Because my infantry, yes, they can take out infantry, but the whole point of Chinese infantry, who you normally fight against Japanese, they always have extra troops and officers which have pluses to their army.
Yep. So, quite simply, chances are you're probably doing later war. You're using Japanese probably against Allied, because I know a lot of people don't play Russians. We play Russians, so we fight against Russians. But a lot of people don't buy Russians to fight in the East. But if you've got Russians, use them against Japanese. Even Russian in winter gear, because they did fight in winter. So chances are you're going to be fighting against American soldiers or British soldiers, right? So they're going to have medium tanks. So the Russian equivalent would be a T-34. So that's front armour of 9. So if you use the tactics we mentioned, lunge mines are great. When I play Japanese, I usually attach 2 or 3 lunge mines to a unit, to a platoon. It also increases the platoon size as well. I
only use one lunge mine.
Yeah, you cut them out in ambush, don't you?
Yeah, the rest of mine are medics and what else do I get normally? Oh yeah, I normally attach an anti-tank rifle to them as well.
Yeah, but you usually fight Chinese.
Yeah.
And Chinese use light tanks, so...
I use farms for cover a lot in them.
Yeah. Against Russians, you're in a little bit more trouble.
You need more anti-tank stuff.
But, so the downside of the Japanese is you don't have anti-tank guns. As I said, this is the best anti-tank gun you're going to field, and it's not that good, late war. But for your infantry, try and start as many troops in ambush as possible.
Also,
if the scenario will allow you, cover the table in 1s or 2s of these babies, like you just mentioned.
And make sure the veteran. Because they're incredibly hard to kill for the enemy.
And just let the enemy move before you attack, and then go for them, and you will destroy the enemy tanks.
That's a me tactic.
Yeah. Bear in mind, a T-34, not a T-34, sorry, a KV-1, this is Russian after all, a KV-1, which is this baby here, will put the Russians back 336 points. You can kill it with 30 points of infantry.
Yep.
Just one single 30 points can take out that 336 point tank. That's pretty good, isn't
And that's even if you're lucky, you might not even die.
it? Yeah, well, if you're really lucky. And chances are someone else will shoot him.
Oh, normally mine always dies.
Yeah. In our next video, well, I hope that helped anyway. I hope that answers your question. I will just mention a couple of things about Japanese anti-tank grenades, which are not referenced in the book. The Japanese used two types of anti-tank grenade, other than the magnetic mine, which is what's on the end of one of these guys here. They used a standard grenade, which was a normal grenade with other grenades tied to it, and you threw the whole bag of grenades at the same time. That was pretty effective. That's the equivalent in the rules as a satchel charge for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you just class it as a satchel charge. The other type of anti-tank grenade, which are not in the rules, was a anti-tank grenade with feathers on the back. And you used to just throw them in the air, and the feathers would make them point downwards, and then they would detonate on the roof of the tank.
Like a torpedo. Not
Yeah.
a torpedo, sorry. A mortar.
Yeah, just like a mortar. And they were quite effective. They were quite good. They could take a Sherman out with no problem with those. But you had to get close enough. And the Americans had learnt by then to basically burn all foliage so you could see the Japanese coming. Because if you try and drive past a wood, some bushes, you're going to get covered in these flying anti-tank grenades, which will destroy your tank. So yeah, and that will lead to our next video, and we're going to say tell you how to deal with Japanese.
I don't think they need to know that.
I think they do.
I
think because we've just done a video on how to kill.
I don't think they deserve
when
that.
we're fighting, and now we're going to give them a hand if they're actually facing the Japanese in question.
That's cheating.
It isn't cheating. It's helping our viewer.
No, helping the viewer is telling him how to play Japanese because they're the most amazing army in the world.
Yeah, and one of the big downsides of the Japanese is what happens when you come up against loads of tanks.
It's fine, actually.
Yeah, it is fine. You don't have a problem, do you? When I mentioned it to you, you were just... What do you mean you have a problem with tanks? Why do you have a problem with tanks?
Well, yeah, why do you?
Yeah. Idiot. Right, last but not least, just aeroplanes.
What about them?
Use aeroplanes.
What, zeros?
Yeah, drop bombs on them.
No, I only use zeros to clear the sky. Just one. Although, for some reason, Russians have really, really good planes.
Yeah, well, they did have really
full
good
of machine
planes.
guns.
Yeah, they did. Only in the east, they changed the loadouts of the machine guns of the planes to have more bullets.
Yeah, make sure you win and you fight first.
Yeah, because they were fighting the Japanese.
Otherwise, you're dead.
Oh yeah, if you fail initiative against a Japanese plane, you die.
Which I did.
Yeah, which happens all the time.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to buy a couple of aeroplanes to support your infantry. You will hear lots of history programs saying the Japanese had no planes. Well, that's a lie. They had loads of planes.
Just didn't use many of them.
In China, Burma, they had loads of them. But most of the planes are based in China. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're evil, aren't they? Evil Chinese, according to these people.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Chinese were viciously fighting the Japanese.
Yeah.
Just surrender.
Yeah, I know.
And joined the co-Eastern Prosperity Sphere.
And then Germany had to lose the war.
Yeah, I wonder what the Japanese thought. Why have we allied to the Germans? They've surrendered. Bunch of cheese-eating surrender monkeys, those Germans.
Actually, they didn't surrender, did they?
What?
No, they didn't surrender.
Germans surrendered first, yeah.
No, but I don't think they surrendered.
Yeah.
They
surrendered.
They surrendered after they blew up the whole of Berlin and took it.
They surrendered, they surrendered 2 weeks after Hitler died. Officially, or they tried to surrender. Oh, they did try and surrender before then, but the Allies wouldn't listen.
Oh, they thought it was a joke, didn't they?
Yeah, when Valkyrie went ahead, when they tried to assassinate Hitler and failed badly. If you're going to blow Hitler up, you're going to have to die with him, I'm afraid. Otherwise, someone might push your suitcase under the table and he'll survive.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, he tried to surrender, the guy in charge tried to surrender to the Allies when the coup was going on, when Valkyrie was going on. and the Allies refused to answer the phone. He sort of rang up and said, "We want to surrender," and they went, "No, shut up, I'm not talking to you," and hung up. Because we thought it was a joke.
What was that time when they,
we thought it was a joke.
They did it again later on, and then they said, "Can I speak to Stan? Can I speak to Stan, please? We wish to surrender." Oh look, it's some jokers again, guys, or pranksters.
Yeah, that was the German commander of the Berlin garrison. He phoned Zhukov and said, "I want to surrender. I want to surrender Berlin." And the guy on the telephone hung up on him. And then he reported it to Zhukov and said, "This idiot just rang up and said, I want to surrender." And he used so many rude words. And Zhukov said, "What are you talking about? That must be the German commander." Because he was using really rude words at him. Yeah, so that's how they surrendered. That's it. That's, I think, more or less the end of the video. We will tell you how to deal with Japanese in the next video. So I hope you look forward to that. This has been Imperator Vespasian and his trusty sidekick.
You missed the outro.
I think they know by now, don't they?
Do you want us to do the outro for you?
Yeah, go on then.
So if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. And comment down below that you do not want to see how the Japanese get murdered. That's everything from me.
And everything from him. Goodbye.